Hello, this is Krista. Welcome back to the Krista Chronicles, and today I've got ink on my hand. We're going to be going through my timeout corner, purgatory, as many people call it. I like to refer to it as my timeout corner because I'm very casual about it. If that makes any sense. So to me, when I put something in timeout, purgatory, it's one, stays there for a while, and two, it's not strictly like going there because I think I'm gonna get rid of it per se. It's more of a space where it's like either I'm recognizing I don't use it a lot, or really it doesn't excite me. Because if I recognize I'm not using something a lot, but I'm really interested in it, then I will just kind of make an effort to use it. But these are ones where it's like I'm not using them a lot, and they don't excite me, or just from the get-go, for whatever reason, they just don't really excite me. So they sit in this bin I have, and I like to periodically just go through it, see what's going on. And so why I say I'm casual about it is, like I said, it doesn't mean I'm going to rehome it. I really rarely rehome things these days. So I do very often pull things back out. This is just a facet of, I have a larger collection of decks, and I don't have tons of space in the sense of like having sort of decks at my immediate attention, and so I like to have this bin as sort of like an aside of, alright, I know basically that I'm not really interested in using this right now. So I thought it'd be fun today to go through it, talk through it, and see, because again, like, it does still fill the purpose of sometimes, yeah, these are gonna go. And so then if something's gonna go, I make a separate pile and do whatever I'm gonna do with it. I don't really know. So let's get to it. And again, this doesn't mean I think any of these decks are bad by any means. Clearly, either I bought these decks or I accepted them for review, so at some point I thought they were really cool. It's just that for whatever reason, they're not working for me personally. So anyway, and it doesn't mean that they won't ever. Again, I frequently pull things back out. Is that enough disclaimer? I think so. Let's get into it. So first we've got here the Prophet Oracle. And what I'm interested in too is, like, when I pull things back out, it's because I've gone through this bin and sort of look at the cards again, and suddenly they're exciting. So let's see. Now this is a really interesting deck. So it's all based off of the story, The Prophet, by, I am not going to be able to say that name, so sorry, Collie. I can't read the font. So, I believe, I have not read The Prophet, which is actually included in the back of the guidebook, but I believe these are all quotes from it. But what's cool too is you do get a keyword, and then when you go into the guidebook, it gives you like a snippet from the story of the Prophet, which I think is really neat. I don't know. I just don't know. I've liked the messages I've gotten from this. I think the thing with this is that this oracle feels a little bit too kind of, what's the word? I don't know the words, like up there for me almost. Where I do think it is kind of meant to provoke kind of deep thought, and that is not something I'm good at. Not to say I can't, I just don't really not that I don't enjoy deep thought, but like, I don't know. Trying to like suss out meaning from stories and like writing in this way is just not my thing. I like thinking about the cards I pull, especially when I guess the language is a bit more straightforward. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Where this deck I think feels a bit more like you read the snippet and you kind of think about how that story might pertain in specific ways, and it's just a little bit too many steps and too many like trying to read between the lines maybe for me, and I can't do that well. But I think these cards are gorgeous. I think the other thing too though is that, well, I do kind of like to span many different art styles and deck styles. I feel like in this I may have discovered one that just doesn't really do it for me. So I think that's the thing too. I don't think the art really feels very exciting to me. And in this too, I was also trying, or curious to, when it comes up, to maybe like this or that a little bit, referencing Lisa's videos that are so fun. I love watching those. So I'm wondering if is there something that I already have that kind of fills a similar need as this that I would go to more? And actually, I kind of think so. I think the one that, and I have it right here, that kind of gives a similar vibe to me in a way that I'm going to use over this one would be the Devas of Creation. Even though this doesn't have any words on it, yeah, you can see how it's like the art is kind of similar in a way. This is a bit more abstract, but I feel like it's meant to provoke a bit more like deep thought in the same kind of way. But this deck feels more doable to me. So yeah, that's the Prophet Oracle. I think that one's gonna, I don't know, I don't feel quite ready to let it go by any means, but I think it's solidly, it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay in that bin. All right. Ooh, I feel like this is gonna be a long video. All right, next we've got the Vintage Wisdom. Now, this provokes an interesting current realization of mine, because usually anything in this vintage kind of style, I instantly am like, yes, this is so me, I'm gonna love it. And yet I never use this deck, and I think what I've discovered is while I really like vintage style things, I like vintage style illustrated things, if that makes any sense. Like, I think what I'm trying to say is like when it involves this kind of vintage style where it's more like 1900s-esque and shows people, I don't seem to lean towards wanting to use that style very much, which is very interesting. Because I've got quite a few decks. So what I'm thinking of that I'm comparing it to is the Carte Postale Tarot and like the Divine Muses Oracle. I don't use any of those decks really on it, like almost at all. And so it's a thing of like, if I'm not using them at all, do I really need multiple in that style? And the Divine Muses is not one that I want to rehome it all because it is currently out of print. It's not easy to get, and I do like it. You know, I like these decks. I love the keywords in this. But at least right now, this kind of style, I have a hard time using it and like wanting to use it. It's like when it shows these, I think it's like the photographs of people. I don't know. Isn't that interesting? Because like looking at this, I'm like, this should be so my style. But I think the vintagey kind of things that more do it for me are like the Woodland Wardens and Victorian Faerie Tarot, where it's more vintage illustration. So, I mean, again, this is not one I'm hasty to rehome either, because I just feel like I could see this being the vibe someday. You know what I mean? But it's in my timeout corner because really I just didn't want it taking up space in my tarot bench right now, since I know I'm not feeling this kind of style right now. So this one shall stay in the timeout corner as well. That's the Vintage Wisdom. All right, next I've got the Tarot Grand Lux. Now this is here for a very specific reason, and it's because I have the Mystic Palette Tarot now by Ciro Marchetti, and this is another tarot art style that I do not go to a ton. Let me get the Mystic Palette. But if you saw my walkthrough of this, of the Mystic Palette, you'll know that I completely fell head over heels for this deck, and I still feel that way. I think it's amazing. And this was one I got when I think what I really wanted was the, at the time, indie version of the Mystic Palette. But since, again, this is not a style I go towards a ton. Oh, that's cool. We got both temperances. I didn't want to really get it at that price point, honestly. And because I knew it was coming out mass market. It just, at that point, was gonna be a while. So I got this mass market one and used it a bit, and I think it's really beautiful, but then it just kind of sat. And now I've got this one, and like, yeah, I just don't even feel like they compare that much. I love this one so much that I know if I was gonna go, if I wanted to read with a Ciro Marchetti deck, I'm always gonna choose this one. So that being said, I kind of feel like actually the Tarot Grand Lux can get shifted more into like a, okay, I'm probably gonna rehome this pile. I think, yeah, looking at them together, I think that solidifies it. I like the frames on this deck, but like something about the no borders on this deck, I don't know, and like the size of this being a bit oversized, I love it. I really love this deck, and so like, I know I'm not gonna choose the Grand Lux over it. And it has to be such a specific mood I'm in to use this style of art, and it doesn't come up, you know, a ton. So when it does come up, it's gonna be this one. So I think Tarot Grand Lux can get shifted out of the timeout bin. Okay. Alright, so that's gonna go in a separate pile. What do we have next? Oh my gosh, this is like kind of a new one. A very new one, the Circe Tarot. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a beautiful deck. It really is. But I know why I have it in here. Because even though you can absolutely use this and not get into the Greek mythology aspect of it, I love the art style. I just don't really feel like, I don't know. To me, I'm like, I don't think I would use it that way, because then in my head I'm like, oh, I'm just using it like an RWS and I've got decks I could do that with. Like, I would use it because of that Greek mythology lean, and after getting the Odyssean Tarot, it just... I just know if I wanted that Greek mythology, I'm gonna use the Odyssean Tarot and like the Hellenic Oracle. But the artwork in this is so beautiful. I just think it's a thing of like, I think this is definitely going to stay in my timeout bin, because I almost think it just needs to hang out for a bit for me to kind of separate the two things out, because I did get those two decks pretty close together, and the Odyssean just, when it comes to the Greek mythology lean, I just think it does it better. But this is a good deck and I love the art. So I think I just need to kind of separate those two things out. So it's going to stay in the timeout bin for now, but that's why it's already appearing here. Because of that Odyssean Tarot, which is so good. Okay. Alright. This is the Wizard's Tarot. This is such a funny deck, but I never, ever use it, and I don't think I know a situation where I would. I don't know. I think it's really funny. And I like the colors and just the wackiness. You know what the characters remind me of, Futurama? Look, oh my gosh, look at that. It's so funny. I like the goblins that show up. I don't know. I'm not feeling like this is one I want to rehome at all. It's like no matter where I end up storing it, it just kind of ends up sitting there. But it's one that, like, it's one that I really enjoy looking through. I just think it's funny. I just never really feel a desire to read with it. But it's one of those, you know, like, looking at it, it's one of those things where when the occasion comes up that this is, like, the perfect deck, it's like, there's nothing else. There's nothing I have that's like this at all. I don't know. This is gonna stay in the timeout. But I don't use it. I really don't. I just think it's funny. That is the Wizard's Tarot. Okay. Now this is kind of a surprise too, because this is not very, what's the words I'm looking for? I haven't had this long. It's a Tarot of Aphrodite. I think this deck is like, oh, this deck is beautiful. It is. I'm not planning on being hasty about this one whatsoever, but I love the pink borders. I just don't think this one, it just doesn't feel exciting. And I think I talked about this a little bit before of like, I've ended up with a lot of decks that kind of delve into this same art period, and I don't know. It just started to get a bit confusing of like when I wanted to use this kind of art style of like, I've got a couple choices. What do I pick? And it's not in my immediate vicinity, but lately I've been really liking the Tarot of Persephone's Garden better. And so this is in the timeout bin for now because, again, that was just getting, like, overwhelming for me. And that's usually my cue as to, like, okay, something just needs to go into timeout because I'm getting overwhelmed. And when it came down to it, comparing this with Tarot of Persephone's Garden, Tarot of Persephone's Garden feels a little bit more, like, versatile, year-round, usable. I just like the layout of that one a bit better. I don't know. Ugh, but these backs, I mean, that's gorgeous. It's one of those ones where it was so fun to use it in February, and probably I will keep it around, even if it's just that I use it in February because it's pretty and pink. But I think it just needs to exist in that timeout bin for now because, again, it was just feeling overwhelming, and I really like the Tarot of Persephone's Garden, which uses some of the same art, so that's that. Okay, let's do one more right now, because I'm hungry. Okay. What is it? Oh my goodness. What's it gonna be? Let's do this. The Mystic Faerie Tarot. Now, I love fairy decks, I really do, but this one just doesn't do it for me. I think it's cool that the minors follow the same set of characters throughout, but I think just the artwork throughout feels a bit, I don't know if redundant is the right word, because I really appreciate what it's trying to do. Like, you very much get the feeling of, like, all of these existing in the same world, possibly, like, within the same, like, mile-long patch of forest, which I think is really cool. But, look, I love how the mice are. It's another one of those things where it's a, and I just love that hermit. There are some cards I really like, but it's a category of deck that is pretty saturated for me. I love fairy decks. I love trying out fairy decks, and the pastel coloring of this one is too close to my Victorian Fairy Tarot, which is a huge forever love of mine. So I'm always gonna pick that one over this one. So this one I'm pretty positive is gonna go. I don't really feel any excitement about this one. And if I did, that's a pretty card. If I did ever want to use it, in the tarot bin I have at work, my coworker put this deck with actually the big guidebook, which I don't have, so I can always use it and play with it at work. But for here, it just reminds me a little bit too much of the Victorian Fairy Tarot, so I just know I would pick that one. So, anyway, it'll be instant for you, but I don't know, I just like saying it. I'll be back later. Okay, let's keep going. So, next up in the timeout bin, Tarot of Tales. Now, this is one that I bought on a fun video Andy and I did where, oh, I don't remember what we called it, but it was like where it was like kind of the speed dating idea, but like kind of a blind date where we ended up like picking a deck to buy. I don't know. Anyways, this was the deck I bought from that. And it's a really cool deck. It really is. The way that the guidebook is set up is very neat. But something about the art on this is just, I just don't think it's for me. I think I don't really like the black border. It makes the deck feel really dark to me. But it's one of those ones that's like, the guidebook is so good, and like, I like, even this, I like that. It's the black border around it, which I guess I don't know. I'm not really much of a deck trimmer anymore these days. I do want to give this one another chance, for sure. It just, I think because it's this like nature storybook feel, and I have a lot, again, like in that category. Because to me, if I'm going to go for that feel, I'm going to go for Force of Enchantment. So it's really interesting to see, oh, look how beautiful that card is. I feel like that's the fun part in trying out new decks, is like it really, even when it's, you know, this is kind of the result, it really brings attention to like what's a main competitor in my collection, and things that fit in this category really have to kind of come up to par with Force of Enchantment, because that's a huge favorite of mine, and right now I don't see myself grabbing this one over that, so hence it's in timeout, but it's gonna stay there because it's really a neat deck. All right, Influence of the Angels. This is one, oh, it's so pretty. It's such a pretty deck. But again, it's in this category of kind of that like fine art style, which I really love. I really love as an art history kind of gal. I love these kinds of decks. But as we've seen and I've said in this video, it's coming to my attention that while I love them, I don't use them much. I don't gravitate towards using this style of deck as much as some others. And so I don't think I really want too much redundancy. And this deck feels very similar to me as the Golden Tarot. You know what? Let's grab the Golden Tarot, because that's always the one I directly compare it to, and I don't know if I've put them side by side. All right, let's see. It's that border, you know what I mean? And they both fit into this such a similar category, and I love the Golden Tarot. I really love it. And so again, if I'm gonna be picking one to use, it's gonna be the Golden Tarot. Oh my gosh, yeah, look how, like, really similar, huh? I think the Golden Tarot definitely scratches the itch of this Influence of the Angels Tarot. Yeah, okay. And again, the Golden Tarot for me is gonna win out every time. So actually, that is making me feel like the Influence of the Angels can more so get moved to a thinking about rehoming pile, because I don't really see a need for me to have, not that there needs to, I guess, be like a need or that I have to use anything, but I don't like when I have a feeling of redundancy, unless it's something that really brings me so much joy, but I don't feel attached to this deck by any means, so that's gonna go into a rehome pile. All right. Oh, next. Tarot of Plants. This just, it doesn't excite me. I think it's really beautiful. I think it's a cool concept. It is a tarot deck with each card related to plants. But I get, like, let's be real. If I'm going for a deck where each card is related to a specific plant, I'm going to use Herb Crafters. I do think the creator of this came out with a more extended guidebook, but I'm not excited enough about it to buy that. I don't really like the backs. I don't really understand the backs. That's a me thing. The art is really cool. I love the, like, watercolor effect of the backgrounds, but also, you know, this was one where, like, I knew going into it that I have a hard time with. I do love how this card is just the tulip bulb. I think that's really neat. I knew going into it that I can struggle with watercolor style art. So that's, you know, a thing, I suppose. Very personal thing, just like with the backs. Yeah, okay. This is, I think, really, like, if you're someone who likes this kind of art style and likes plant decks, it is really cool and really good, but it just doesn't excite me, so yeah, I think that's gonna go in the think about rehoming. Okay, next, oh, in this super cute bag. Oh my gosh. This is the, oh, what is it called? Lord of the Rings Tarot. Now, I think this deck is really cool. Oh, I have it upside down. Eek. I edged it in green. I really like the art style of this deck. Oh, look at that. That woodcut feeling. I think it's really neat. But the reason it's here is because I got the out-of-print Hobbit Tarot from US Games. I found it on eBay a bit ago, and I've been really enjoying that. And so, I'm not any, like, I really like Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't consider myself any sort of, like, super fan by any means, I guess you could say. So I'm not really feeling a need to have two Lord of the Rings decks. So while I do, like, I like this one, I think it does a really good job. I do just like, as of right now, like the Hobbit Tarot a little bit better. But this is different in that it's a pip style deck, and I do really like just the look of the pips. So I'm not in a rush to rehome this one, but it is in this Timeout basket because I've been focusing on the Hobbit Tarot. I do like this one, and I've used it quite a bit. What's that company that makes these fandom decks? I love their cardstock. I think their cardstock is great. And actually, I think this is, am I lying when I say this? This might be the only deck from that company I have right now. Is that true? It might be. It might be. And so part of me is like, oh, but I love the cardstock. So okay, I'm not in, you know, any rush to get rid of this one, but I think it's gonna stay in the Timeout section because I think the Hobbit Tarot feels a little bit more like it really gets that energy of the Hobbit. So I don't know. That's my thought there. Okay. Next up, we've got the Mushroom Spirit Oracle. This is another one. It's a really cool deck. I love this creator, Nicola McIntosh. She also made the Celtic Spirit Oracle, which is a favorite of mine. But something I'm discovering, while I think mushrooms are very cool and I love seeing them, I don't find myself ever wanting a mushroom specific deck, as will be shown by... Do I want to show it? Yeah, we'll show that, the next thing I'm going to show. I feel like I'm saying a lot in this video. Apologies. Yeah, I don't know. And I think the topic of mushroom is really cool when we think about kind of life from death, decomposition, things like that. But if I'm working with those kind of themes, for some reason, this is just, it's not, going towards a mushroom deck is not what I do. But this is so beautiful. I don't know. Yeah. It just does, again, like, the topic doesn't really excite me. I think like I thought it did. Having a mushroom-specific deck. But I am going to hold on to this because this is not the season for it. I should say that's another thing I do. To avoid being hasty in any way with rehoming things is if it feels like the deck could kind of slot into a very specific season for me, I will not rehome it until after that season, that next season is over. So to me, mushroom, it's very much late summer, early fall. So I'm going to hold on to it until that season rolls around and see if, you know, maybe it sparks my interest then. But right now, not really. Okay. The Threadbound Oracle. This is really pretty. And I had a specific idea. I got this one used, I want to say off eBay or something. I had a very specific way I wanted to use this deck. I don't really remember what that was. It's very pretty. I like that there's 3 keywords on each of these, you know? I like this a lot. I haven't pulled this out in a while, and I feel like it actually does kind of fit with the style of deck I've been leaning towards lately, which is interesting because I think the reason it ended up in this timeout bin was because I was having a hard time pairing it. This kind of modern style was not really it for me. And still, I do still struggle with that, but I don't know, it's not feeling actually very modern right now. This is interesting. Oh, I feel like excited by this. Oh my gosh, see, and this is totally the point of me having this timeout bin is because, again, as we're seeing here, it just needed to go, look at this. Needed to go away for a little bit, and I'm pulling it back out, and it's exciting because now I'm thinking, like, this would be cool with Everyday Witch, which I'm having such a moment with right now. What else? Oh, I can't think of anything else right now because that's in my brain. Everyday Witch. That'd be so cool. What else? Oh, that, the Extraordinary Incantations deck I just got. Oh, okay, yay. That's exciting. Threadbound Oracle, she's coming back out. I'm gonna put this to the side. Actually with the Everyday Witch that I've got right here. So, oh, and look at that. This temporary bag matches. Slay! Oh, that's exciting. Okay, cool. That's fun when that happens. Okay. Alright. Ooh, I just knocked over something. So sorry if that noise scared you. The Marigold Tarot. Man, this one's so pretty. I wanted to like this so bad, but I just don't think it's for me. I think it's, you know what it is? This is one of those fantasy self decks where I'm like, this is such a cool girl. Cool person, I should say. I use, anytime I say something like cool girl, I mean it in the most gender neutral way possible. Just to, I guess, weirdly clarify that. Anyway, yeah, this is a cool gal deck, and I really admire it. I think it's so beautiful, but I don't think I've really ever used this. It just doesn't excite me in that way. And what I think it's a bit too similar in my head to is something like Antique Anatomy, which I do use. And then I just got that, what's that deck? Beauty of Bones Tarot, which I'm really excited about. And I just don't think, especially now with that Beauty of Bones Tarot, I don't think I really have a need for this anymore. So I think this can, go into the pile for rehoming. Because this has been sitting in some sort of timeout purgatory bin for quite a long time. So, yeah. Such a cool deck, though. Every time I see someone using it, or like hear someone talk about loving it, I'm like, man, I wish it was me too, because I think it's so neat. But alas, not everything is for everyone, I suppose. Let's move on to this. Oh my gosh, the Dark Grimoire Tarot. What's happening in this? Okay, so disclaimer, and to be fair / unfair to me, judge that how you want. So I got this deck not knowing it was based on H.P. Lovecraft, and I am not gonna lie to you, I learned that fact from one of you commented, and I was like, oh, cool. Who's H.P. Lovecraft? I knew the name, but I just was so unfamiliar. And so the beautiful thing, one of the many great things I should say of working in a library, is I went and asked my coworkers, what is this about? And they explained him to me. Oh my gosh. That guy is cuckoo bananas. And so, like, right from buying this deck, I just had weird feelings about it. I don't know. The vibe is off. That's all I'm gonna say. Personally, the vibe is off. And then I learned about H.P. Lovecraft, and I was like, oh, there you go. There you go. And then the guidebook, on top of that, the pictures don't really, to me, always relate to the card it's showing. But I'm always open to seeing a new interpretation. I think that's so fun. It doesn't explain it. It doesn't explain it. And so this is just, honestly, the only reason this is still here and in my timeout bin is because I just have been too lazy to, I don't know, figure out where to go with it. But this is going in the you gotta go. Alright. Now, okay, we got a few, I don't know, okay, the Mouseboat Oracle. I love the Mouseboat Tarot. I love it. I was so excited when this came out. And so much of it is so cute. Look at this competition, that's so cute. Pride, so cute. Some of it, though, goes in the most wackadoo direction, and I don't understand. It's just, like, we have it just feels very random. Like, we get these great keywords, determination, and then all of a sudden, summer. What do you mean? And I can get a meaning from that. I think it's just jarring to go from something so specific of a keyword to, like, determination to summer. And then we've got the 7 deadly sins in here, 2, and then like mythological figures. I don't understand. I really don't understand. And maybe what I need to do is, like, what? Is go through and pick out the keyword cards that I like and see if it's enough of a deck. Because it might be. I just don't know. It's just really, really wacky. You know, but I don't really feel in a rush to rehome this. I think it's so cute. Like the eon. What do you mean? What does that mean? The Devil's House. And the thing is, it doesn't come with a guidebook, because I am more than happy to go wherever a deck creator wants to take me. If it's explained to me, you know what I mean? But like the Devil's House, what is that? What do you mean? So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Misogyny. I don't know. It's really just, I just don't understand it. And the backs, what's happening? What's happening there? Love the tarot. I love the tarot. The oracle just has not been it. But I think it's going to stay in this bin for now. And okay, I'll show this quick in here. I've got the Collie Oracle. This is the full size. It is in here because I got the pocket size, and I have the pocket size of many. I think I actually have all these the goddess pocket size decks from Blue Angel that are out right now. And that's what I really like those. I think it really gives just enough it gives the meaning on the back of the card instead of having a guidebook. And considering Collie is not someone I personally specifically work with, I like having the pocket oracle for that kind of just general energy, but I don't really feel a need to have this full size. So I think this one can actually go in the going out pile, because I feel good with that pocket size. Okay, oh my gosh. I said I was going to show this next after the Mushroom Oracle, and I didn't. It's the Midnight Magic Tarot. This is definitely not going as of right now, because it's really pretty. And again, I want to hold on to it for that season I feel it fits in, which is that late summer, early fall for me personally. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I don't know. It's like, while I really enjoy looking at it and I think it's so beautiful, I can't say it's one that I feel super excited to use. I think that's what it's coming down to. With my collection, what I've taken notice to is I just get excited to use some decks, and others I don't. And that shifts and changes. And so, like I've been saying, I'm not quick to rehome anything anymore, because things will come back around. Like the Everyday Witch. This full size was a repurchase because I rehomed it a few years ago. But now all of a sudden I'm having a moment with it. So, you know, you just never know. But right now it just doesn't feel exciting to me to use, even though it's so pretty. But I think it's just having that mushroom specific deck. But I kind of think if I were to have one, I think probably this is the one that would win out. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. That's the Midnight Magic. It's so pretty. All right. more do we have? We've got 3 more, but I'm just going to show this quick. Wild Unknown Archetypes is in here purely because I just got this, the pocket, and oh my gosh, so much more, no, what are my words? Words. So much easier to handle, cute tin. The only thing, I think I love that the book fits inside of here, but it is, I mean, how cute. It is kind of small. It is very small. And so, but I can read it. I don't know. I haven't played with this pocket enough to feel like I want to definitely rehome this one, but it is not easy to shuffle, as we all know. But we'll see if there's ever, because there could be a moment where I want to have this big one, but the other thing I'm thinking is if I end up liking to use the pocket cards, but the larger size guidebook that comes with this one. So this is a very much, I still have to kind of play around and see, but I'm showing it because it's in there. Last but not least, okay, I've got these 2 oracles, 2 Hay House oracles. The Mystical Shaman and the Priestess of Light. I got both of these, I'm sure, in one of those huge Hay House sales they have. And I don't know. I just don't think, I think these are cool, but I don't really think, they're definitely just not really my vibe, honestly. Something about, I don't even know how to explain. I saved these till the end and I put them together because they give me a similar feeling, and I don't know how to explain the feeling of something just feels off to me with these. And I don't really, I'm not trying to make any sort of statement or, like, I don't know why. It just feels, something feels off. I don't know. Anyways. I don't know. It's because a part of me, I'm like, is this? I can't really sort out. I'm not gonna say any big claims. Anyways, I don't know. I just don't think I am also. Can you tell I'm struggling with my words? I don't want to say. I don't know. I don't want to accidentally make an accusation. I just don't think I'm super comfy with the word shaman. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, anyways. And then the Priestess of Light. This I feel like less so. I think this just might be that the coloring of this deck is not something that I find myself wanting to use. I love that back though. Yeah, I just think the images just aren't clear to me, and I just don't use this one. Really, I really want to try the, oh my gosh, what's it called? It's a Hay House deck that is so popular. Oh, where'd I put my phone? Cell phone, there it is. This is one that's been on my list forever, and I just never buy it. And I just should, because I think this, when it comes to Hay House oracles, I think this would just be the one for me. The sacred, is it sacred? I want to try the Colette Baron Reed ones. I've not tried those. Sacred Destiny Oracle. That I think could be ones that work for me, but these two, I don't think so. I'm gonna let them hang out in that bin for a bit though, because I just kind of finally pulled them out and was like, all right, they need to go into timeout. So they haven't been there long, so they're gonna stay. But anywho, that's what I've got for my timeout bin. I'd love to hear if you do something similar. I'm hoping this video didn't seem negative or anything. I don't feel like it. I don't feel negatively, I feel excited. I think that's just part of the collection development, and I thought it'd be fun to share this process, because I kind of go through this every once in a while. I'll just take the bin out when it gets a bit full and see what's in there. Poke around a little bit. But anyway, other than that, I hope you're having a great day so far, and I'll see you again very soon.